haven't done a Speak Them in a couple weeks because I wanted to really focus my channel on covering the madness of geekdom here on World of Geekdom, specifically the incredible, massive success that was Avengers Endgame. Did a bunch of videos on that. And of course, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. We are starting to do videos on that. So what I want to do with this Speak Them is we're approaching exam time for a lot of college students and some high school students as well. We're actually close to the summer. We're about to hit the summer right now. And I wanted to kind of give people some advice on exams and what I did when I was in college to help me pass these exams. Because I was pretty notorious in high school for being one of those kids that kind of goofed off a lot, but I would always kill it with the exam. And in college, it's different because when you're in college, you're paying for it, for the most part. So you try a little bit harder. And I've failed I have failed a few tests in my life, and I learned from those failures. And I wanted to give y'all some, just, I guess, somewhat advice, just kind of my own ideas on what I do to make things easier for myself. Some of you are going to watch this video and probably say, this is pretty obvious stuff. For some of you, it is obvious. I wish I could go back in time and tell my 21-year-old self this information, because it would really make life easier. So first tip I want to give you when it comes to these exams is know what you're getting into and be prepared for it. And what I mean by that is obviously study. Now, I hate studying. I don't like studying at all. I am not a fan of it. But there are ways to study that makes your life a lot easier. First of all, you need to give yourself more time. Cramming before a final exam, days before, some people are good at that. Most people are not. I would highly advise people, those of you out there, don't cram everything the last 2 days. I know some of you have jobs and careers and other classes. I understand that's tough. I would highly advise you not to do that. Instead, I would advise you to, first of all, figure out when your dates are and then start planning a 3 or 4 week preparation for it, maybe even a 2 week preparation for it. As much time as you can give yourself, I would give myself that time. Now, what I did when I was in college was I was preparing to take an exam called the Network Plus. And if you're a CompTIA, if you're an IT person, you know about CompTIA Network Plus. And I destroyed that exam. I passed it the first time without even trying. Well, no, I did try. Let me take that back. I passed it without failing. The A plus exam, I actually failed the first time I took it because there were questions on there back then. The exam's very different now. This is back in 2005. Back then, the exam had questions with antiquated computer parts that don't even exist anymore. They were asking us about Pentium 2s, which nobody had back then, and some crap like that didn't even matter. I didn't care. But what I did to help me destroy the exams is a few things. Number one, gave myself time. Number two, I asked a lot of questions and especially try to reach out to people who had taken the exam before, or at least recently. Not too long before because the exams changed, but, reached out to them, get their advice on it. Third thing I did, which I think is really important, is I took a lot of practice tests. In 2012 was the last time I ever took a test in my life. In 2012, I was studying for the MCSE Windows 8 exam, which I thought, hey, it's Windows 8. I'm sure this will get over real well. I'm sure it'll be a big hit. No, it wasn't. It was crap. And I recognized it was crap from day one, but I wanted to get the jump on people. This is about 3 years or so before I started my YouTube channel. And I wanted to get the jump on people in 2012 because I wanted to further my career. I wanted to make more money. And I figured if I can get the edge on other engineers by getting the exam done early, I would be open to getting paid more. So that was a mistake, obviously. You got to be careful which books you buy, because there are a lot of exam prep books out there. And the one that I bought for the Windows 8 and for the Server 2012 exam were, well, the Windows 8 one was okay, but the 2012 Server exam, which I never wound up taking because the book was trash. Complete waste of money. I bought the book before the exam was even out publicly, thinking that I was going to get the jump on it. And the book is so unorganized. I forget the actual name of the book, but what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're going to buy a book to help you, make sure you read reviews on the book first. But I would highly advise everybody to take practice tests if you're taking a written exam, or if it's, a computer exam or whatever. If it's an exam that requires you to answer questions, multiple choice, take lots and lots of practice tests. And luckily, there's tons of them online that you can go find, especially for IT. Now, most of my advice here is going to be strictly for like these kinds of careers, like industry careers. If you're a surgeon or something like that, I can't help you. I never did anything like that in my life. But maybe these tips will help. But I feel like if you're a surgeon, you're probably way smarter than I am, and you probably have better techniques than me. I assume. But this could still help. So lots of practice tests, I think, is really, really important. I can't stress that. One of the tricks that I did was I took notes by hand. And what I mean by hand is I didn't just take notes by typing them into a tablet or typing them into a computer. I actually got actual pieces of paper and read through the book and wrote things down that I felt were important to the exam based on the practice tests I had taken and based on knowledge that the book tells me to remember. And the reason as to why I wrote things down is because I felt that if I wrote things down, and this is actually something that worked for me, the way that information travels in your body, in your brain, is I felt like if I were to read something and it would go into my brain and then come out through my hand as I'm writing, it would be easier for me to remember. And that's exactly what happened. Instead of actually typing, the fact that I was able to move my wrist and my arm as I wrote, for some reason for me, really helped me to remember the stuff. It really helped me to understand the concepts of what I was trying to study. So that really, really helped. During exam time, I also chose not to partake in too much social activities. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell somebody to stay in their room all day and study, but I would study. I would not study more than 2 or 3 hours a night. That's my suggestion. No more than 2 or 3 hours. And even then, I would say no more than 2 hours, honestly. 2 hours a night, no big deal at most, until you get things right. Some people like to use flashcards. I never got into that stuff. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but that really helped out for me. If you start studying like 6, 7, 8 hours, it works for some people, but in general, it doesn't work because you're going to forget stuff. But if you do 2 hours a night, you can then go to sleep and your brain will retain most of the information, and then you kind of organize yourself like, okay, if you got 5 different subjects, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then do the same thing the next week, and then until you feel confident enough that you have everything memorized. That works. That works for me anyways. It's important to actually write things down, even if you can't read your own handwriting, right? Even because I have crap handwriting. I have had shit handwriting since I was in elementary school, but it really helped me to do that. It really, really helped. In fact, it's better to take your own notes and read them over and over again, like with key information, than just reading the entire book. I mean, that's pointless to me. You should definitely do that. And also, it's good to get with people as well, if you can, who are taking the exam with you or at the same time as you, and seeing if you can help each other out. And again, you've got time. You have time, and it's important to make sure that you use your time wisely and don't wait till the last minute. Also, the most important thing, one of the most important things I feel, is to believe in yourself. Don't let this exam, this intimidation take you over. If you fail, you can take it again in the future, most likely. Of course, that doesn't apply for every exam, but if you know you can, just breathe. But don't get lazy. Don't get lazy. Just breathe, and remember that you can do it. You don't. If you don't believe in yourself, you're just not going to pass. You're not going to. You have to really, really believe. It really helps. And also, I forgot to mention that too. When you do study, take breaks as well. Don't just sit there cramming. And the most important thing, I think, is to find a place to study that's not going to give you distractions. Turn off your phone. Turn off your social media. I don't even know how kids nowadays can do this. Like, it would drive me nuts living in this world trying to be in school. So I respect y'all for that. But no, I would find a place, wherever it is, a different room in the house, away from technology, away from television, away from computers, unless you're studying, and just focus as best you can. You can take a break if you want, and if you want to take more than 2 hours, but you take half an hour breaks, there's ways to do it. I just don't try to cram. Don't try to cram. unless you are a crammer, unless you know yourself well enough to do it. But it typically doesn't work. It typically does not work. Again, you have to make sure you put aside your distractions. You have to make sure. In fact, there's actually apps you can buy that will block social media websites just for that. I've seen them. It works. And make sure you set your goals. Make sure that you set your goals when you take your practice test. Okay, if I don't get a 90 on this practice test, I got to take it again. I got to learn more. I got to keep going. I'm not ready yet. Practice tests are very, very important. The questions are not going to be identical on the real test, but they're close enough that you're going to get the concepts and get an idea of what you're in for. It really, really helps. And again, there's other tips too, but that's what helped me out. You know, I know anxiety's a lot. You might even get sick the day of the exam. I would not drink coffee. I know a lot of people think that drinking coffee is good for your test. It's not. It can actually add stress, so you might want to, and lose focus, so you might want to just drink water instead, just that day. I'm not saying to only drink water the entire study time, but it's better to drink water than drink coffee. That's something that I learned a long time ago as well. You know, and caffeine, all that stuff. So hopefully that helped. I hope that it did. There are books and things like that out there you can buy, but that's what helped me out, and I hope that it can help y'all as well. Hopefully. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. Obviously, the advice I give on Speak Thems are not for everyone, but it helped me, so I'm hoping somebody out there will take something from it. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one.